Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Friday, April 11th, 2025. Where did all of the year go so far? My gosh, so little behind us, so much ahead to go. But on that note, man, we got one heck of a show for you tonight. Yes, the Tic Tacs are back, my friend, and we've got new footage coming in, an analysis, yes, in 2023. And I tell you, I'll take these videos over Sky Watchers any days because it's real great to see this phenomenon has been going on. I just have to say, for people getting out there to try and track this kind of stuff down. On that note, before we get too far ahead of myself, let's go ahead and get those drums going and welcome in our Friday audience. How about that? Turn those drums a little bit louder. Okay, let's see who the heck we have out there. Wait a minute. Where'd I hide the chat? Oh, no, not again. I know it's got to be here somewhere. There it is, live chat. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Who the heck do we have out there? Let's take a look and see. All right, we've got Anton Ghost along with Azrael Aries. Charles Kerr is here, the Charles Kerr. Charmanian is here along with Dana Scully, Delta Echo, Diva, Kim, Eliza, Teal, Eric Roth and the Gurus, Firefly, Ginger Swallows, Hammond, Egger, Ish, Jan, Jared Rosenthal, J. Cat, Kane Northrup, and Kelly Broat with those piercing blue eyes all in one breath. We got to welcome Cody, Martime Unprepared, Mike, Disclosure, Mr. Grimlock, Nancy Kuzmano. We've got Nathan Forrest, Niles Guy, our resident pitbull. Paul Higgins here along with Peggy and her South Florida friends. Love you, Peggy. Big hugs to you and Steve, my friend. Philip Shepard's here along with Rough Reddy, Sam, and Shelly Montgomery. Long time no see, Shelly. Thanks for coming out again. We got Super Unknown Terrence Bruce, the usual suspect. How about that? Todd T. here's along with Tom Clark. We got two midgets on a horse. You better believe it. Good to see you guys. Uber Holder along with Vern Dude, William Underwood, and F5 Twister. How about that? On that note, my friends. God, it's getting warm in here. Window. On that note, let's go ahead and not welcome in the back, but let's go ahead, actually welcome in the, it's time to welcome in our back. Let's see who the heck we have there today. Well, would you look at that? Who do we have in the back? Well, our first guest comes to us all the way from the great state of Florida. Let's welcome in none other than Alice. How's it going, Alice?
Hey, Thomas, how are you? I'm
pretty good.
Doing very well. It was
Yourself?
beautiful here. Like a spring day.
Yeah, it's a nice spring day, warm enough to where I have to go
Yes,
ahead.
I had a couple of doggies here, so I had them out in the yard most of the day.
Nice. You know, I thought one of my
Been
squirrels.
very-
Yeah, dogs. Absolutely, it's a great day. What's the weather like there down in Florida today, Alice?
It was sunny with a little bit of shady clouds and about 79 degrees.
Wow, nice. How's the humidity?
Yeah, it was
Probably
balmy.
low
It
this
was
time of year.
balmy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for coming in today, Alice.
Oh, thank you, Thomas.
Our next guest is coming to us all the way from the great country of the United Kingdom, Bristol area, for that matter of fact. Let's welcome in Andy W. How's it going, Andy?
Hi, Thomas. Yeah, really well. It's been a beautiful day here in the UK as well. Yeah, it's supposed to be the hottest day of the year tomorrow. So, yeah, lovely blue skies. Great.
Excellent, my friend. Thank you for coming out. And I got dog duty here. Dog dad duty for that matter. Our next guest is coming to us all the way from the great state of Hawaii, where it's always sunny and 80 degrees. Let's welcome in Corporal Abe. Yes, absolutely.
Hey, Thomas, how's it going? My Disclosure Tonight team. It's another sunny and 80-degree day here in Hawaii, and I'm looking forward to another great show.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you coming in here as well. So does Mocha, who's decided to talk all of a sudden.
Hey, Mocha.
Don't bark in my ear. Quiet. Get out of here. All right, our next guest is not Mocha. Is coming to us from the great state of Indiana, where we could call him a Hoosier. Well, he is, because let's welcome in Daryl Zernick. How's it going, Daryl?
Doing great, Thomas. Thanks. Good to see everybody. Happy Friday. Looking forward to the show.
Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm going to be running around chasing dogs here. Better than chasing squirrels. All right, let's welcome in our next guest coming to us from the great state of Texas. From his recliner, no doubt. We're the place where I'd rather be right now. Let's welcome in Ed Brown. How's it going, Ed?
It's going real well, Tom. It's a great place to be, and I say hello to you and to Mike and to all the viewers out there. And several people have been commenting about the temperature. I had, I think, 85, 86 today, so I think I beat all those southern states.
Wowzers, that is
kind of
warm.
like that view that you're getting behind you, that blue, that really blue sky.
Yeah.
Kelly's eyes showing up again in Seattle, don't you think?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
That's what I see.
Oh, it's like incandescent light outside. We had some sunshine, but the clouds move in, and it's like going into an interior building with fluorescent lighting. So,
well, I know I'm going to probably repeat what Mike said, but we're looking forward to this show. Going to be a lot of great things we're going to talk about tonight, Thomas. And I, for one, am glad to be here on a Friday night.
Oh, thank you very much, Ed. And it wouldn't be the same without you, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, our next friend is coming to us from the great country of Canada. Let's welcome in our dear friend, Freezer Man, who may be coming from British China, or is it British Columbia?
So far, it's British Columbia, but you never know. I would prefer the state of Columbia, if you catch my meaning.
Oh, there we go. I love it.
Great, great to be here, Thomas, and I'm glad to see you all again. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about the Tic Tacs.
Oh, same here. We got a lot of great news news stories and stuff to cover on. It's very interesting, to say the least. Thank you for coming in again, Freezer Man. Our next guest is coming to us from Wisconsin. Absolutely, it's Laura Campbell, a resident remote viewing targeter. How's it going, Laura?
Hi, Thomas and everyone. It's going really great. Had a busy weekend. Did a lot of remote viewing tasking for the objects that were in Skywatcher. And each one was different, and it was fascinating. So at some point, I'll share a little bit of it. Summary.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out what those long floppy things were, because they definitely are not Tic Tacs. They are something else.
Okay. We'll look at it.
All right. Thank you very much. Our next guest is coming to us from this province in Canada where all the U's are silent. Michael Sokoloff. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, Thomas. Doing real good.
Thank you.
If Freezer Man gets his way, well, I'll have to move back to Ontario.
There you go. Thank you for coming in, Michael. Our next guest, we could say, let's turn the world upside down and shake it like a snow globe, and who pops out of Australia? Well, I could say it's none of your business, but it's actually Susan Ford. How's it going, Susan?
It's going pretty good. How's yours going?
Well, I'm feeling like I'm having a hot flash, and I shouldn't be, and I don't know why, so we'll have to figure that one out.
Oh, change of weather, maybe.
Yeah, it is getting warmer out, I guess.
Yeah, it's getting cooler here.
Oh, well, yeah. Exactly.
Sucks.
Yes, and the, what do you call up in Alaska? They've gotten to the part where it's no longer getting dark at night. Or so far north.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's getting to twilight. Dark enough, but not dark enough, for that matter.
If it wasn't cold, I'd move there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I hear you, my friend. And dark in the winter, but then again. Thank you for coming in today, Susan.
Welcome, Thomas.
Yeah, on our Friday show, we got two people left. Next, number two, let's get to Sergeant Daniel, USMC, who's coming to us from the great state of Massachusetts. Daniel, how the hell are you?
I'm outstanding. Thanks for having me. Good to be here. Just starting to snow here, so I'm out in the hills.
Oh, wow. Well, it is April. You can still get a good snowstorm in April.
Not looking forward to it. Already put grass seed down, so, you know.
Yeah, remind me. I have to go kill the moss in the front yard again. Then again, I live where there used to be a rainforest. No wonder why there's moss. The grass is the invasive species, I tell you. Thank you for coming in. Our last guest is coming to us from New York. Absolutely. Tia Marie, long time no see. How you doing, girl?
Hey, Thomas. How you doing?
Good. And yourself?
Pretty good. I'm glad to be here. Excited about the show.
So am I, as I get to go ahead and fix this and turn that on. No, that's not it. That one. Hold on. I got to fix this. There we go. Turn that one. Perfect. That's right. All right, let's go ahead now and welcome in our dear, well, it's that time of the night, friends, to go ahead and turn this music off and get this one back and say, Mike, Disclosure, how the heck are you? Oh, we lost him. He punked me. He was just here a minute ago, wasn't he, guys? I thought he was. Oh, well. We'll figure it out as I've got the dogs going crazy in the background. This is going to be a fun one, I tell you. All right, so this is a story Mike had just brought up and we wanted to talk about. So I'm going to go on, and hopefully with me going ahead and covering it, he will go ahead and pop right in. Who am I talking about? Yes, let's find that one. Where's it at? Yes, we have a breaking UFOs alert. Before we go ahead and get to the story about, what do you call it? About the Tic Tac UFOs, on our way to that story, there is a breaking news story coming in from Matt Laszlo at Askapol UAPs. Well, this is his week 1 report coming in. Let me go ahead and get this one brought up here. Where is that at? Let's get to documents. Oh, there's Mike. How are you, my friend?
Just had an internet outage all of a sudden as the show began.
Oh, wow. Solar storms hit, huh?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know about the solar storm, but something funky must be going on in my area.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened all day. It just happened now when the show began.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. Let's get
It's
this
happening to me too, Mike. So it's got to be something right now in New York.
Yes.
It's got to be, yeah, where we are. Yeah, that has to be.
Right. So let's get to the story here, Mike. After a week with your new this is an interview that's coming out between Eric Burleson and Matt Laszlo, talking about David Grusch, finding what's going on in the first week, who's got what going on. And Mike, you want to give any intro to this besides that?
Yeah, actually, it was a very interesting piece that Matt Laszlo did. And we've heard his interviews before. We've covered them here on the show repeatedly. What I thought was interesting about this one is that he actually seems like he took the time to have a quasi-private conversation with Burleson.
Is his audio any better?
No, but his approach was definitely better.
Okay.
And by him taking the same approach that you and I do, he actually got some interesting information out of Burleson that Burleson would have come up with on his own. So this was actually good work done by Laszlo.
Yeah,
so that's why we should play it.
As long as we can hear it.
I'm sure we'll be able to make it out. It won't be that bad.
Oh, I know. All right, I've got it set. Let's go ahead and play this, and I've got it skip for the first 30 seconds because usually it's an intro at the beginning of it.
Yeah, it is.
So let's get to this and see where Matt Laszlo at Askapol UAP is going to take us in this quick impromptu interview with Eric Burleson. Here we go.
Today was a good day with the UAP topics. We had David Grusch in town. We had meetings in the oversight with Anna Luna.
She told me, yeah.
And we had a lot of ideas, good strategy that we're kind of formulating. Grusch is, I'm telling you, he is like a wellspring of insight into this, into everything in this category. So.
Oh, interesting.
I think
so
everybody
it was a little bit illuminating.
I think that everybody in the room recognizes that this was a good move by my team and me to bring him on.
Yeah. Well, no, it even talking with Richard earlier, he was like, I don't know, like, what does he get paid? And I was like, he's part time.
Gosh, that's Matt Laszlo talking. We can't even hear him.
I know. But the information that he's getting out of Burleson is really good. So
I know, but
muddle through.
I know, but it sounds like we've got the teacher from Snoopy. Come on, Matt. Get 2 microphones, Bluetooth. One for you, one you stick in your friend's face.
But just because this is
out of my budget. Coming out of my budget.
But that's where this is just different. So
Yeah,
everyone's
we're
kind of talking about it.
Yeah.
I brought up the Himes last week, and Himes was like, really?
I saw that. Yeah.
But it sounds like what Luna told me, that you guys kind of have a good gameplay.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. You can't tell me too much, but I'm sensing more optimism from her than I have in the past few months.
I mean, this is an exciting moment. Like we've got, we were at a place where we were kind of operating in the dark. We didn't even know where to go, right?
Yeah.
And now we've got somebody that's turned on a flashlight.
Yeah. No,
or is bringing his flashlight.
And this is kind of technically his first week, because last week was onboarding him.
Yeah.
So this is kind of his first week.
Yeah. He had a lot of meetings this week with the administration, with setting up, having meetings with my team, having meetings with others. So it was a good week.
Do you guys have an answer yet? From last week, you were a little not confused, but 100% certain whether his
security clearance.
Yeah, whether that was coming from Pentagon or not.
We don't.
Does he got it?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get it. It's in process. And the oversight staff said it could take like 2 months.
Yeah. So they're talking about, I know it's quiet, but Mike, I think they're talking about Grusch's security clearance, right? That he doesn't have it anymore.
Correct. He doesn't have it. They weren't able to get it reinstated before they hired him, or even after they hired him, because you just heard Burleson saying, oh, that takes months. Great. But last time I checked, they only have David on for another, 4 months, maybe?
Yeah. But that
So if
goes
it takes
completely
that time, then
contrary.
what?
Wasn't, was it Christopher Sharp or someone else was saying recently that Grusch still had his security clearances?
Obviously not, because if he did, then they wouldn't have an issue with this right now. What Burleson said is they're trying to get his security
Right.
clearances reinstated, and that could take months,
Up to 2 months, at least 2 months.
if not longer.
Right.
Now, because of that, you would think whatever they're trying to get out of Grusch, they're not going to be able to. Anything that he knows that's valuable, he can't talk about to anybody.
Right.
So that's a stumbling block that they inadvertently admitted right now, thanks to Laszlo. Good work by Laszlo, by the way.
Yeah.
So he is working part-time, according to what Burleson just said.
Well.
He doesn't have his security clearances back. And I also thought it was interesting that Laszlo pointed out to Burleson that they're in the dark, meaning Congress, the task force, and anything that they're trying to do for UAP, they're stumbling around in the dark. Does that sound like a positive thing to you, Thomas?
No, and bringing out a flashlight to go ahead and figure things out, I think you need a spotlight for this matter. But you know what? We do have 30 seconds left of this. Let's see what's left, and then we'll talk about it in a second, Mike.
Sure, no problem.
We're going to try to expedite that and make some phone calls and put pressure.
But at a certain point, it doesn't matter, right? Is that really important?
He may not be able to directly tell us, but he can at least know tell us where to go poke.
Thanks for listening to Ask a Poll, your conduit to Congress.
There you go, Mike. That's the end of it. Cut short on that one. We can never hear enough, can we?
No, not enough. But I think we heard a good amount, including Burleson now confirming that Grusch really can't tell them anything.
Right.
That's fantastic, isn't it? And I'm being very sarcastic right now.
Well, yeah, I hear where you're coming from, Mike. It's just one of those situations we have to take a look at and wish it was better. But unfortunately, at this point, it sounds like it's clearly not.
No, because they got Grusch finally after, 2 years or better? And they can't do anything with him currently, and they don't know when they will be able to.
Well, he still knows what he knows. It's just a matter of he can't go into a skiff and talk about it because he lacks the security clearances. I guess this gets down for him the ability to talk around stuff like Lou Elizondo's done for years.
Well, listen, you and I both know that Lou Elizondo is a horse of another color compared to David Grusch.
Oh, yeah.
like apples and oranges.
Yeah, Dave's.
You
I
can't
mean,
really compare the two.
of course, because Lou's even got a book out there.
Right. And Lou is, and he's a complete artist as far as being able to lay the breadcrumbs out and walk up to that line, but not David. He's not the same type of individual that can do that easily. He knows where the line is, and he just can't cross it.
Yeah.
Because if he does, he's worried they'll try to put his ass in jail. So I understand he has good reason to feel that way.
Yeah. But, if we could just get disclosure to move forward, coming from the executive branch, coming from that new disclosure of national secrets task force that Anna Polina Luna has, but it sounds like even that is still
stumbling around in the dark.
No, it's like trying to plow with a 10-ton brick of concrete.
Right. So I don't really see much progress, to be honest with you, being made by that task force right now. If they're in the dark, they don't have a direction to go in, according to Burleson. What are they actually going to accomplish? And she's also said recently that she wants to announce a UAP hearing date. Great. Let's say it's in the next couple of weeks. What the hell is she going to do in that hearing?
But, Mike, she's waiting to get more information from the National Archives.
Oh, yeah.
We're never going to get disclosure. I mean, if they're waiting for the National Archives, didn't she send off this great letter that she sent off and demanded,
Yep.
We want all your information no later than February 8th.
Right.
Or February 18th, I think it was.
Whatever.
Getting information from the FBI, the CIA, the DOD, the Director of National Intelligence, that's the kind of stuff that would really mean disclosure, not waiting to see what agencies did or didn't send to the National Archives.
Which we already covered when that came out, and we know is a big fat nothing burger in there. So she's going to do a hearing on that. Great. Wonderful. And by the way, I'm being sarcastic again.
So am I.
This doesn't sound good to me at all, to be honest with you.
I mean, it gives me that nice warm feeling in my stomach like I have to go take a fucking shit full of diarrhea.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Yes, sir.
Well, we've been telling everybody there's a lot of promises. It sounds promising, but don't get your hopes up. I had my hopes up, I'll admit. But the biggest thing we've learned that the longer we've gotten from the initial introduction of this task force through till today, the less that Anna Polina Luna has been tweeting and messaging about it. The time is getting longer and longer between tweets about this, and it doesn't look good. I wish it did.
No, but now we got confirmation of what you and I have known all along, that they're in the dark and it's not moving forward behind the scenes like it should be. Now he confirmed that, thanks to Laszlo. So now we know where we stand.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I wish it was good news. It doesn't sound like good news to me.
So unfortunately, Grusch may not be that tip of the spear we saw him as before.
Not technically, not without a security clearance, not without them being on the ball and having a direct target and a course to move forward. But look, even if he disclosed information to them, they don't have subpoena powers. They're not actively investigating this. They're not really pursuing it the same way that you and I do every chance we get. They're not moving in the same way. And that's obvious now. And with that being the case, what the hell is this hearing if they do have it? It's going to be in it. I can't possibly imagine.
Ah, boy.
What are they going to get? They're going to get Marek von Rennenkamp to come out?
Well, we do have Marek von Rennenkamp talking about the stuff going on with the Tic Tacs, which I am actually excited about. Tell you the truth, it's about time we got more information about the time. This time, though, Mike, we're talking about it. They're actually transmedium, which we kind of knew they probably would be, but now they're seeing them coming out of the ocean.
Well, that's according to, if you remember, David Fravor in 2004.
Well, he didn't see them coming out of the ocean. They saw a giant craft about the size of a 747 underwater, bubbling, making bubbles and stuff like that. But they didn't actually see the Tic Tacs moving from the water into the air.
No, but Fravor saw the Tic Tac, and the way he described it was also very interesting. He
Well,
said
yeah,
it
we've
was
heard
like,
that a million times.
Yeah,
Can't
he said
get any more
like
interesting.
5 feet above the object under the water, and it was moving like a ping pong ball on a video game, back and forth that quickly.
Yeah,
in real time.
But it wasn't. It was close to the water, but it was not exiting from the water. Big difference. Just like a plane can get really close, or a helicopter really close to the surface of the water, but it can't go under it.
Right, but we don't know what that Tic Tac object was doing or where it had come from before he got there.
Right, but we didn't have, what I'm getting to, Mike, is we didn't have evidence, visual evidence at that time that the Tic Tacs were going into the water or coming out of the water. The difference is now we have a fleet, let's call them 4, close enough to call them a sortie or a fleet, coming out of the water and zipping around doing what Tic Tacs do.
So we have confirmation of what we suspected all along, is the point.
Well, we've never...
Potentially. We suspected the Tic Tac with that object that was submerged. And remember, we had Kevin Day on. He was the radar operator on the Princeton. And he said that there was 100 of these Tic Tacs over the course of over a week that they were being buzzed with this shit. So we suspected that it might have been involved under the water.
Right, but
that's the only thing that was out there.
The usual suspects aside, we actually have proof at this point of these things. Confirmation, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's actually good news.
Oh, you better believe it. All right, our first clip we're going to get into, Mike, is before we get into the actual clips, we've got a bunch of different news stories we're going to cover, then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of this. Our first clip is coming from our friend Andrew Cuomo. You like Cuomo, don't you, Mike?
I do, actually, yes.
Our first clip is coming from Chris Cuomo with Jeremy Corbell. He is on a media tour on this one, as he should be, because you know what? We got Tic Tacs, we got videos, and that was a groundbreaking disclosure we got years ago, and I can't wait to see where this is going to go now, because these Tic Tacs coming out of the water and zipping around 2 years ago. I love it.
Yeah, I know. It is actually positive confirmation moving forward. It's about time.
About time I didn't have to talk about my ex-wife or my ex-brother-in-law, so perfect. Let's move the clock forward on that matter. All right, here we go. Let's get to this first video clip from tonight. All right, here we go, everybody. A little bit to the side and up so you can see it. All right, here we go.
Joining me now, investigative journalist, co-host of the Weaponized podcast, my friend Jeremy Corbell. The floor is you, Jay. What do people need to know?
Yeah, man, this is an interesting case. There is power in military footage. It's few and far between that we get great sensor data on something that is truly anomalous, and that's what we're seeing here, backed up, of course, by the eyewitness testimony. This ship is one of the most technologically equipped ships, but additionally, this is a senior ranking Navy official who I believe will end up coming forward. They saw these craft coming out of the water, at least one of them coming out of the water. That's TRANSMEDIUM. This is in the Combat Information Center. Also, they saw 4 of them in total. They saw them on radar, then they picked them up in thermal. That's why it looks black and white. But if you look at a plane through that system, you see wings, a tail, exhaust, rotors, all sorts of heat signatures. You're not seeing that here. So again, it was tracked on radar, tracked on thermal. There was a kind of a synchronized, coordinated, instantaneous departure described to me and George Knapp by the firsthand witnesses. This is really reminiscent of the 2004 Tic Tac UFO, where Commander David Fravor, who testified in front of Congress, chased a UFO for the United States military. Cat's out of the bag. Sailors are seeing stuff, and now we have more evidence.
How big, and do we have stuff like that?
Yeah, no, everybody says we don't have stuff like that. Don't take my word for it. Commander David Fravor testified in front of Congress. We didn't have technology like this in 2004. We do not have technology like that now. We also wouldn't be testing, kind of black budget technologies in these warning areas right off the coast of San Diego. This has been going on for decades, if not centuries. We don't have technology like this, but take the word of people that testify in front of Congress who know.
There you go. Interesting to say the least, Mike. You know, we got a bunch of news stories to go ahead and cover on this today. It's just great to see we've got more information, evidence coming about the Tic Tacs. You know, if we had them back at that time and we've got them at, 2005, I think it was.
But the Tic Tac with Fravor was 2004.
2004, 2005. You know, we're 20 years into the future. It's hard, unfathomable to think that this is the first time we've actually had more footage of these things. At least this is something that's actually been leaked. I love leakers in this area, Mike.
Well, without the leakers, we wouldn't have any of this information, Thomas. So you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to me, see if our next clip I've got here is, I've got a bunch of things in here. That's the web. Oh, I guess it's weaponized. I thought I had one. I've got one here. All right. So we've got another story coming to us from NBC News, where Jeremy Corbell is talking with Getty Schwartz, I believe is his name. Let's get into this next clip and see where it takes us. All right. Let me move that across a little bit, bring it up. All right, folks, let's get to it and play this next video clip for everybody.
UAP video that just dropped, possibly shot from a Navy ship, once again off the coast of Southern California, which for some reason, has been this very, very weird hotspot for all kinds of unidentified flying objects that don't seem to care that there are all kinds of Navy warships that are out there training. Now, quick refresh about why this area matters so much. 2004, we've all seen this video that was showing what was described by Navy pilots flying off the USS Nimitz as a white Tic Tac that was zooming around in ways and speeds they just could not explain. In 2019, sailors on the USS Russell, again, off the coast of San Diego, seeing what they described in night vision goggles as upside down pyramids. And then brings us to today, this new infrared video just released by documentary filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, showing what he says was an incident on the USS Jackson. It's one of these littoral ships, one of the highest tech ships that we have in our arsenal. And according to Corbell, Navy sailors were actively tracking one of 4 unknown objects observed going in and out of the water. No heat plumes, no exhaust, nothing. And here is how one of the witnesses on board the ship described it.
I go out to the bridge wing. I'm noticing things and lights on the horizon, and like city lights or any other ships that are out there. So seeing a light that is lifting up, you can see it. I know the difference between a light on the horizon coming up and a light coming out of the water. When you've been on the water more in your life than you haven't been, you know the difference.
Now let's get into it with Jeremy Corbell, one of the hosts of Weaponize, the podcast. Welcome back with Jeremy. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm so glad you talked to that sailor there, because it gives us so much more context. Like the videos, they're very important, and yet they don't show that much. So real fast, walk us through what this video shows, because if you look very closely, it looks like the targeting is trying to lock in, right?
That's right. So George Knapp and I, with our journalism, we always try to, if we obtain military filmed footage of UAP or UFOs, which this is, we try to get direct witness testimony to go with that. And in fact, these are senior ranking Navy officials. You know, they don't want to go by their full identity at this time, but they will at some point. They're in the Combat Information Center. They get this footage. It's FLIR, forward-looking infrared. So it's black and white. What you're supposed to be seeing, we don't see. We don't see tails. We don't see thermal plumes. We don't see any signature of a normal aircraft. So that's what makes this case fascinating. We have both witnesses coming forward as well as the hardcore data and evidence.
And does that mean white is hot, black is hot there? Or what's the thermal imaging and like why do we see that Tic Tac shape?
Sure. So this is in black hot. It can switch between the two. But what's really important about this is that the high-ranking Navy officials said, we saw one of these come up out of the water. We then went to radar, and we saw 4 of them. We then took our thermal cameras, and we looked at one. And when you look at a plane, it looks like a plane. this doesn't look like a plane. In fact, it looks like the Tic Tac from 2004, where Commander David Fravor chased a UFO for the United States military. So look, it's tracked on radar, it's tracked on FLIR. We're lucky to have some of this footage that you're able to see now. But what you're not seeing, Gotti, is you're not seeing the typical signatures you'd see on an aircraft. There's a very unique propulsion system, it appears, from this footage. And again, people have come forward and risked to bring this footage to me and George Knapp. And as journalists, we have a duty to put it out after investigating it. I'm glad that it's out now.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're putting it out too. And again, you know, we are lucky to see those images, but what happens all the way before that is what's really important. And I mean, if you get a chance, go back and listen to what Commander Fravor said about what happened back in 2004, opened your eyes. But Jeremy, I know you've been pushing for government disclosure on all this, like harder than anybody else I know. This administration seemed to suggest that they were going to get to the bottom of it, and yet, like, so far, we are pretty well into this. Why aren't we seeing like more?
Well, we're pretty well 3 months into it now, just about. So give it some time. We had 4 years of Bush. Biden didn't give a shit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, you know what? You're right. It's still too soon to tell, and I hope eventually we get something that we're looking for out of this.
Just don't hold your breath.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Continue, Harry.
Tangible evidence from people that aren't just coming forward scared to lose their jobs and scared to lose their livelihoods. Like, why don't you think we're seeing, like, the government say, this is what's going on?
Yeah, well, that's changing. Easy way or hard way. As you know from the last hearing, when I brought the Immaculate Constellation information to Congress, we learned that there are thousands of high-quality videos that the public has not seen of UFOs. The dam is breaking. People are coming forward. And George Knapp and I have already recorded with some of these whistleblowers. So we know that footage is coming out, those interviews. So I think it's just a matter of time that we're going to get more information on this. Look, it's a long-haul thing. UFOs have been taboo for so long. It's now admitted that they're flying with impunity within our restricted airspace, and we have footage like this, military filmed UAP from a Navy warship in a critical area just off the coast of California. It's going to take time, but you got to be optimistic. You got to keep fighting, easy way or hard way, and this is going to come out.
Yeah, I can't wait to know what is going off the coast of California here. I mean, this is a very weird hotspot. Jeremy Corbell, just another video that you have now released to the public. We really appreciate you covering all this for us.
Amazing, isn't it, Mike? Finally we're getting some more information about these elusive Tic Tacs. It's been around for so long that, we heard about this back in 2004, actually when it had happened. But it's been quiet for the longest time. But now that we've got more people in the military who are breaking rank and file, and also security clearances for that matter, to go ahead and release this kind of information. Now, Mike, this is the kind of information we need to come forward. Jeremy Corbell, while he's not quote-unquote a reporter, he's someone who's been following. He's a in-depth journalist on this, working along with good old George Knapp, right?
Right.
And getting through it, that, we just have to say he's doing a better job right now than Ross Coulthart is to bring out the truth, because he's getting facts, he's getting evidence, and he's bringing it forward, especially to deal with official channels, not just Skywatcher, but to deal with stuff coming from the military. Stuff that should be highly classified in a matter of national security.
That's true. Those are all good points. But what I find interesting is the fact that you and I covered the story about Corbell and George Knapp when Jeremy had his friend, the whistleblower Kyle, who was the author of the Immaculate Constellation report that was given to Congress.
Yeah.
And how he got screwed over by Representative Nancy Mace for months and was going to have the whistleblower come out publicly and testify at the November 13th UAP hearing. But now when he's talking about these Tic Tac videos, he doesn't mention that anymore.
You mean Nancy Mace, the woman who has come hell or high water, we're going to keep the real witnesses from testifying at this hearing?
Well, yeah, she did say come hell or high water.
We're going to have the hearing, but it wasn't the hearing that we've been asking for. We expected the people who should have testified at the hearing were prevented by Nancy Mace herself, supposedly. We've heard.
Allegedly, according to Jeremy Knapp and George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, that they spoke publicly, both of them, about this very thing. That
You mean Jeremy Knapp and George Corbell?
Yeah, that's the one. Headache has been kicking in, and Continental hasn't stopped yet. So
I'm sorry, my friend.
No, it's okay. I'll be all right. But anyway, yeah, we broke this story of Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp's before the November 13th hearing.
Oh, yeah.
We came out publicly, and that's when Nancy Mace got the battle cry of come hell or high water. Because when we put it out there that there were shenanigans going on behind the scenes, and at the upcoming proposed hearing, because at that time it wasn't confirmed. They didn't even have an actual date yet.
No.
But we knew that there was some shenanigans going on behind the scenes with Congress from the Pentagon. And when Matt Laszlo saw what we put out, reached directly out to Nancy Mace and said, "Is this true? Is there something going on?" And her response at that time was, "Oh, we're going to do this hearing come hell or high water." And we didn't know, the public didn't know at the time what we were putting out there about there was some things going on behind closed doors. And she did have the hearing, but then we also knew that the witnesses that had actually testified at that hearing on November 13th, they were called up at the last possible minute.
Yeah.
And we know that because we were speaking directly with some of those witnesses, and they were telling us they didn't get confirmation yet. And this was like a few days before the actual hearing.
And you know what? It was disappointing for me personally. In
What?
conversations I had with Lou a long time ago, he said, when you see me testify, you'll see Jay Stratton right next to me.
Well, that never happened.
That never happened, did it?
No, it did not. Because I would imagine that if Nancy Mace had reached out to Jay Stratton at the last possible minute with no time to prepare and told her to get his ass on a plane and come down to Washington, D.C., he probably would have told her to go fuck herself. Knowing Jay Stratton, that's just who he is. But the people who did actually testify, they were able to go down there on a moment's notice.
Well, it sounds like, honestly, that Lou and Jay may not be as close as what Lou thought they were back in 2021.
Well, because if you remember, we also covered this before the hearing, that Jay's wife, Michelle, was trashing Lou publicly all over the internet, on social media. And it seems like there is some sort of a discrepancy between the Stratton camp and the Lou camp for some reason.
You know, we need to see Michelle Stratton versus Jennifer Elizondo. Ready, fight! Bring out the Jello or pudding. What would your preference be?
Oh, I don't know. Jennifer's a good friend of ours. So
Oh, I know. We love Jennifer. We want her to win. Jennifer for the win, absolutely.
Absolutely. But I don't know what the hell is going on between them behind the scenes, but it doesn't seem good. I guess when Jay's book comes out soon, we'll probably have more information on that, I think.
Oh, God, it's going to hit the fan and splatter just like it did in Airplane. All right, so we've got a news story here coming to it from 8 News Now in Las Vegas. Who's the reporter there? Who's the reporter?
George Knapp.
George Knapp, yeah, I know. Let's go one up, shall we? Close one down, and let's get this one up. Where is the Cialis when we need it? Here we go. Let's find this video. Here we go. George Knapp, News 8 Las Vegas.
It appears the Tic Tac is back, or maybe it never left. Crew members aboard the USS
Bingo, it never left, George. Thank you for saying that.
Jackson.
I like that. I like that Trump red tie too.
and say they saw 4 of the oddly shaped craft, one of which emerged from the ocean. The sailors were able to record video of 2 of the Tic Tacs as they appeared on a thermal sensor in the ship's command center. The video was made public earlier today on a podcast that I co-host and is likely to rekindle questions about who is piloting these objects. When Navy aviators first encountered a Tic Tac shaped object off the coast of Southern California in 2004, the incident was largely ignored until 2008, when a new hush-hush UFO program based in Las Vegas learned about the incident. The program, dubbed OSAP, was launched by the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, with support from Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Bigelow Aerospace was the contractor. It turns out the 2004 Tic Tac is pretty much identical to the 2023 model. In February 2023, crew members aboard the Navy's USS Jackson saw an illuminated object emerge from the ocean off the coast of Southern California, in the same general area where the original Tic Tac was seen. Inside the ship's command center, sailors saw a familiar shape on their thermal sensor. The thermal system, known as Sapphire, is a heat sensor, not a camera, and a closer look shows there were 2 of the objects, not just 1. The witnesses say they saw 4 Tic Tacs in formation.
But when we start talking about all of the objects, all 4 objects, and what we witnessed was all 4 of them, all in synchronous, jetting off into the abyss. All 4, all timed together, and all left. And we were like, holy and they were all, maybe the second they left, maybe 3-4 seconds pass, I run to my station and I look at my radar and they're all gone. They're all off radar. And I was like, that's it. They all zoomed off. But it's clear that they're in communication with one another and synchronized, like 3, 2, 1 countdown, let's all go type thing, unless there's some level of like one entity is controlling all 4 and then they all leave at the same time.
The crew member,
or unless they have a collective consciousness. You never know.
Requested anonymity. His account and the video recorded from the thermal sensor were made public on the Weaponized podcast by filmmaker Jeremy Corbell.
It is not an unusual thing for people who are out in combat zones to see anomalous craft. And we're talking no wings, no tail, no rotors, no exhaust. You and I get it time after time after time. Usually they're just stories. When you have a piece of data that correlates with the verbal testimony, that's big, and that moves the needle.
Crew members told Corbell that other sensors on the ship confirmed what was seen on the thermal screen. We asked former Defense Department analyst Merrick von Rennenkamp to figure out if the sensor may have picked up images from an airplane or helicopter.
The very first thing, George, that I did is I went back to the historical flight tracker data, and we know the time, location, we know which way, we know with a high level of precision which way the infrared camera aboard the USS Jackson was pointing. And we can, in the 3D space, we can kind of, we can project where that.
Now, this is some amazing work that was done here, Mike. Try and figure out where the direction, where they're at, what was going on from flight tracking at that time.
Right.
That's the kind of research journalism we need.
It is. It's also the type of research that we need being done in Congress by the task force.
Oh, come on. We're talking about people in government. They're not going to have this kind of knowledge.
But they have the authority, and they should. It's a shame that they don't. Is the point.
Well, I guess we just have to blame the public for electing them in the first place.
Well, yeah.
A little bit left here.
That camera was looking, and there are absolutely no aircraft within that line of sight that match up with what we see in the video.
Could it be that some sort of secret military project has been stashed out in the ocean for 21 years or longer?
I don't think it's ours. I suspect there are better places for us to showcase that kind of equipment to unwitting sailors, or that just doesn't make sense, right?
The new Tic Tac video was shared with the Navy aviators who encountered the first Tic Tac 21 years ago. David Fravor and Chad Underwood both said they were stunned by the similarities. So why was this incident not reported up the chain of command or to the Pentagon's UFO office, AARO? That's not clear. This is just the beginning, though, and we suspect Congress will be asking questions about the video and the incident. George Knapp, 8 News Now.
Mike, I have to go ahead and answer that question. Wasn't Immaculate Constellation set up to go ahead and capture the information of UAPs being sighted that came across the different networks, to go ahead and remove it and bring it within its domain?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's still operational, to my understanding. Immaculate Constellation is a presidential unacknowledged special access program, which again, no one was aware that a presidential unacknowledged special access program was actually a thing until this information came out. And obviously we now know that it is. So that works directly and controlled by the executive branch, not it's not run by the Pentagon or Susan Goff. It's run out of the White House, and it's still operational.
Hey, Mike, I have to bring up really quick a message to you from our chat coming up saying Skywatcher was like, here, we got some good videos. And then George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell are like, hold my beer.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. Of course they are.
Yeah.
Because George Knapp has been doing this over 35 years, and he's credible, and he really believes in bringing disclosure out to the public. He devoted his life and career to this. So, yeah, he does real work. It's a shame that fucking Congress doesn't do a semblance of that.
Now, consulting the mathematician in my head, that's for longer than half of my life, George Knapp has been going after this. But then again, I got involved back in this when I was 5 in 1973.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're an old pro at this as well.
Not that we want to be. Some of the shit we've never asked for, but you know what? You have to look at it as a initiative to go ahead and make a difference. I think we're trying to make a difference here.
Oh, we absolutely are. It's why we do this. That's the motivation behind it.
Yeah.
Truth and transparency.
Yeah, Mick, George is the GOAT, greatest of all times. What do you think? I think he is. But I don't think this is Hollywood Disclosure. I think this is, I have to say, comparing what's going on with Skywatcher right now and what's going, not with Skywatcher, right? And then we got the stuff with the Tic Tac. Skywatcher did not make it into the major news media once. Not once.
And they're not going to.
But now we've got stuff going on with Knapp and Corbell, and it's already hitting major news networks like News Nation and even NBC.
Which is mainstream media. There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to be clear to everybody, 1968.
For those of you who are curious, yes.
People said Thomas is a youngster. When Weebs react, there we go. 78, 10 years old, 10 years younger. How about that?
Yep.
But maybe I look younger than they do. You never know.
That's true. You age well, my friend.
We all do. Well, I used to age better for a while, but then when I got COVID, and then when I got put on methotrexate for a year and a half, it's a kind of chemo they'll give to people for different things. Yeah, it freaking destroyed me. I saw some old videos that I kicked off in 2001. I was like, oh my God, what happened to me? Time has been brutal. Oh,
well, we all went through hell dealing with COVID. There's nothing we could have done about that. But you know what? That being said, you still look good, my friend.
Thank you.
You held up real well.
I appreciate that. Actually, Daryl Zernick in the back, no better place to be than Disclosure tonight. Usually it's Friday Night Disclosure, but we got stuff to talk about. We can have a actual title card that says something that means something, not just a generic one like we used to put up for a while because it was so dead before. And it may be dead again, but at least, we've got something to... Yes, the patient is alive, Mike. And Mike Morris, we love you. Best luck to your father. We love you, your family, your father, and everything. Hope he recovers well.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But if everyone's out there watching the show, give a positive thought, a positive prayer to Mike's. He's the attorney of the EBEs. He's around on the chat a bunch of times. Send him some love, everybody. His dad could use it right now. It's been a very difficult day. We'll leave it at that.
It has been a fuck you Friday for our
Oh
dear
my
friend,
God, yeah.
Michael Morris.
I heard about a bunch of things that were going on. It's like, oh my God, Mike, it sounds like you've got a fuck you Friday. And then he gets to his dad's house and not going to get into the details, but yeah, it's been a very... Okay, Dad is sick, right? Dad gets to hospital. Mike drives that hospital. Okay, doctor reaches out to Mike. I need to see you. Mike gets to the hospital, and guess what? They lost his fucking dad. That is the biggest fuck you Friday.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Hour later, oh yeah, they let me know my dad's been in surgery. Yeah. We thought he was a John Doe. Oh God, Pennsylvania medicine at its best, Mike.
Unfortunately, that's true, Thomas.
All right, so getting back to the world of disclosure, let's see. I've got a bunch of things here that we've got to cover today. I think we've hit you know what? We've got the original
UAP,
3 minutes and 29 second piece from Weaponized. So we're going to go ahead and show. It's been covered in all the news broadcasts and everything so far, but I want to go ahead and share with the audience. This is the piece, Mike, that got this in gear for everybody, that alerted the troops for that matter.
Yeah, it's a good one. Let's play it for the audience.
All right, let's go ahead and get this. All right. Find it. Second video. Oh, all right. Here we go.
An unidentified object. I think
There we go.
is a true UAP. It's an unidentified object.
I think we should play the video, and our listeners, our audience, should pay attention to the reactions of crew members when they're seeing this in real time. We'll play it through, and then we'll take a look at it again.
Again, audio's really low. We're not seeing it. We're just hearing it's kind of in the background. So among the hiss, there's some audio. But we've already seen this, so it just gives you an idea. This is just replaying of the original audio up front, the original clip that it had. So just to be clear, what we're seeing is someone holding up an iPhone, recording a screen of something that they're seeing as they're seeing it. Is that accurate, Mike?
Yeah, very accurate, Thomas.
Yeah. And what we want to see is the original video the DOD still has. Let's continue.
That shit took off earlier.
So again, unedited footage. And this is what we need, Mike. It's kind of like with stuff we got at Skywatcher. It all comes down. They find the little video clips. They find this stuff. Wonderful. We need open source data coming from all of this stuff. Tell you the truth. If we want to get disclosure there, enough of the filtering, enough of the peer reviewing, enough of the reviewing from the government to make sure this isn't a matter of national security. We need open source data on UAP from anyone who's out there. If they want to make a difference, make it open source. Right, Mike?
That's the only way to do it, Thomas. Anything else is bullshit. You and I both know that.
Yeah. It's filter, 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 filter. And here you go, public. We've got something to share to you. Versus when you have it in that scope, it's just like the UAP research programs from the United States government. There's like a slice, paper fucking thin, right? Versus having tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people trying to help solve the problem. We'll never solve it if we take that approach, will we?
No, not at all. So that's where we currently are, because no one seems to be taking this seriously enough to put it out as open source moving forward.
You know, some people who have not been taking this seriously, though, Mike, is our back panel. They have been dead silent tonight. It's like we could hear a feather drop.
Yeah, they should have, if they have any questions about what we've covered so far, now would be the time.
Just like that. Andy and Ed raise their hands. Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you were saying about, seeing the original footage, I think we all feel, quite positive we've got this.
Yeah.
Likelihood of us getting the original, the original footage from the military, 0, I'm afraid. Yeah. So yeah, people complain about the quality of it. At least somebody's smuggling it out. Somebody's doing the decent thing.
Yeah.
Breaking their commitments and everything. But it's otherwise we'd never hear about this. So
yeah.
I see some of the comments in chat and everything. Got to take it as a positive. We're getting some of the information out through people doing it fairly nefarious means, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Right. We're just looking at ways to get it out there and make it more open and transparent. Transparency is what everyone's asking for, whether it's government or anything. We don't, we love educators. We love people who are scientists. We love the whole process. But the thing is, enough of the censorship of the data. If you're willing to give it to the peers and they're going to do the review, open it to the public, not just the peers, because it's a very imperialistic approach, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and also, we showed the footage, back, what was it, last year, where the Reaper drone had a fuel dump by the Russian fighter planes. They were able to scrub all the information off the screen and release that in, a day? The same day it happened, I think. So, yeah, they can remove the information that pertains to sources and methods, as we always hear. Most of us don't care about that. We just want the footage. I don't give a damn about how they recovered it, where they recovered it, or any of that. I just want to see the genuine footage.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. We just want to be included in the process. We want to be able to see it. But then again, some people may be really talented and have all different ways to look at it. If we can bring AI or different systems into this to try and go ahead and figure it out, I think that's the goal of what everybody would want.
Yeah. Yeah, we're fortunate now. AI seems to be sort of taking off and actually becoming much more user-friendly. I can't work it. I've not attempted it, but yeah, we've got to use every means we can. Even looking at some of the footage and information from past years, if we start running that through the AI systems, then who knows?
Yes,
sky's the limit.
Okay, I have a old idiom from America that I can apply, Andy. With your hair down, we have to say, when the curtains don't match the carpet.
Yeah, the grays really come out in my beard.
Yeah, you've got it going down here, but you're not rotund like me. Trim it up so it's more Gandalf-like.
Yeah. I wanted it to go Viking. It stopped. I wanted it down as far as it could go. But yeah, the hair's grown, but the beard hasn't. It's stopped there.
Exactly. Look, you're looking awesome, my friend. Ed Brown, what say you?
I was just thinking about that, and I think Andy is certainly approaching the point at which we might describe him as NHI, but the jury's still out on that one, but in the future. The reason everybody was climbing back was because we were all just mesmerized by how talented you and Mike are in discussing that new 2023 UAP. And you notice it comes in waves. You notice when now we're talking about the 2023 instead of the old ones from, 20 years?
2004. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to see some new ones, but I don't think we're going to see full disclosure for a while. And I know that may shock you, but I have I have researched this very thoroughly using artificial intelligence, both Grok and Chat GPT, for the last week or so. And I have come up with the date, September the 14th, 2026. There it is. Live with it.
And what's supposed to happen on that date, Ed?
Full disclosure, ships completely covering the skies.
Oh, well, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, just go on.
They all come down. They all come down at once, all around the planet, so everybody knows all at the same time, right?
Hey, you know, you're not in a good position to make fun of UFO people.
I'm not making fun of anything. I'm being serious about this because I've seen the point when they all appear in the skies and they all come down at the same time around the world.
What did I say the other day? I said we are not going to get full disclosure until the NHIs want us to have full disclosure.
Well, here's the thing. Our government has been tasked with giving us the truth. But are they ever going to do it, Ed? I don't think so. So, you know what? They've made the agreements, and the non-human intelligence is like, fuck humans. You've looked at the clock. Look what time it is. Look what date it is. You were supposed to do this fucking 10 years ago. You know what? Screw you. We're going to go ahead and do it ourselves.
You know, we're looking at thousands of years of history here. So I'd say, you know, a month or two one way or the other is not a big deal in this particular situation. I really do think it's accelerating, and I'm merely predicting the date at which it will finally reach full fruition, and that is September the 14th, 2026. Put it in your calendar. Come back later if it doesn't work and let me know.
Let's hope it does.
So this came out of AI, Ed?
That's correct. I was able to work with both Grusch, which is the XAI system.
Familiar with it, Grusch.
Did you get them talking to each other?
They can't do that.
No, but you can be the intermediate.
That's a serious answer. They have set up, because of privacy and copyright and all that, either of those systems cannot access the files of the other system. They are totally independent. But you've hit a good point. I can be the intermediary between those two. World famous for bringing the two largest AI structures together.
Yeah.
So, you know, just a possibility I've been thinking about.
Yeah, that takes Grok and ChatGPT, puts it to the top and takes DeepSeek and puts it out to sea.
And you just put Ed in the middle, and we'll solve all those problems.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, I'm glad I was of service to you tonight.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that, Ed.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you being here.
We do appreciate that.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, Ed, do me a favor. Next time you're back at it with the AI, ask it, what does it base that conclusion on? Because if there really is any information to support that, I'd like to know what AI knows or thinks it knows.
Yeah, you remember that movie, You Can't Handle the Truth? I'm not so sure I can really explain the whole thing. Perhaps to get a little bit more experience in the field, I'll be able to bring you up to speed.
There you go. I got you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Daryl, it's like going from YouTube videos where there's police arrests, which are phenomenal, to start watching judges who are dealing with the people coming in front of them after they've been arrested.
I've been kidding around with you, but seriously, Mike, let me give you an answer to that question, and Thomas both, and everyone that's listening. AI will let you change their mind. You can argue with them. You can debate with them. You can throw out new facts. So you could start out with them saying disclosure is going to occur in 2033 or whatever. They'll say that. And then you'll say, well, now what about the, disclosure tonight just showed a video of a new craft in the sky. We hadn't seen that before. Well, that changes it maybe a little closer. You could kind of nudge them down to where you can get them to agree. I got them to actually agree with each other, even though they started at different points. So I thought that was kind of it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because it's still in its infancy with this technology. So it could be manipulated. It's not accurate. But that being said, I could tell you that it is a good tool. It's much superior to just simply using Google to search for terms. It's much better than that. And yeah, the information is not always accurate or complete. But it does give you enough actual legitimate research information that it's a good tool. So that's my understanding of it. Not bad, Ed.
Well, you're absolutely right, and it's going to get better as we move along. I think one of our big concerns, we've talked about this before too, is what happens when it actually does become smarter than us and potentially decides that it does not need carbon-based life forms anymore. That's an issue for a later show, but it's definitely something that the planners are thinking about.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you want a taste of where it may be at a future date, the one thing that I like about the new Grok 3 is that, unlike ChatGPT, there are no filters that will prohibit information that you ask that goes outside.
When
the
you're
certain
doing
scope.
it based on a voice question, not based on text, right?
No, I don't do it with text. I do it with text all the time. You can ask it any question you want, and it will give you the raw, unfiltered truth or their explanation of it. No filters at all on that system. And I think that kind of goes along with what Musk is doing with X, of saying that this is going to be a free speech platform. We're not going to keep you from doing anything on this platform. Whereas ChatGPT is real picky with its filters.
Oh my
it
God.
is.
Annoyingly so. Even on mundane stuff sometimes. Because it says that it violates its parameters, and is not allowed to go in that direction.
Mike, what kind of questions have you been asking ChatGPT, Mike?
I can answer that. You want the answer?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah. Mike is asking the questions that ChatGPT doesn't want to answer. Ha ha.
Okay.
Well, Grok will answer it, and I got to tell you, have you tried the unfiltered mode, the unhinged mode on Grok 3 yet, Ed?
I think I'm there. I don't know a toggle that will switch it between the two, but it
We'll
just
talk
amazes
after the
me.
show.
And as I pointed out, you can argue with it and actually catch it in a logic trap. I have been able to outthink it a couple of times, and quite honestly, that's pretty impressive when you get it in its own trap and it admits, I forgot to include that. That's a good point.
Yeah, it just shows you how primitive at this time it still is in its infancy, but it has a long way to go.
It's especially bad on computing percentages or likelihood of an event occurring. And you quite frequently have to come back and say, I think you didn't look at this quite right. Here are the other variables that you ought to roll in. And, then it'll say, yeah, you're right, Ed. I forgot that. That makes me feel real good.
Oh, great. So it seems like you're working with the schmuck version of the AI, because basically a simple calculator could do a lot of the statistical math that you're talking about right now. Don't know why the AI has difficulty with that. It really shouldn't, but that'll change.
I don't want to get too mathematically technical, but it's because it uses variables that are not independent of each other. And if there's a correlation between variables, then multiplying the percentage of those likelihoods gives you an unreliable result. I think you understand what I'm saying with that.
I understand that perfectly, yeah. But they're going to improve that. It's all, as time goes forward, it's going to improve and get dramatically better. So
as we get closer to that date, I'll bring out the champagne, have some cheese, apples for us. We'll all sit around and watch the world end on Disclosure Day. How's that?
Sure. That absolutely sounds like a plan, Ed. We'll have fun.
Yeah.
And we're also, Thomas, aren't we coming up on the 1,000th show soon?
Oh gosh, yeah, we're just about there, Mike.
I know.
Well, that's just in live streams alone. Holy cow! Oh, let's get this on here. And good job, Kelly. Keep an eye on that schmuck, please do. You got the hint. Let's get into the back and let's take on YouTube. Oh my God! Oh, we've lost 10 subs tonight. Really? Yeah.
Talking about Tic Tacs? Why? I don't get it.
Some people like to sit and rotate. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it. We haven't mentioned anything controversial at all
I don't think so. If we are, please tell us why. You don't have a show for a couple days and it's just there, but you know what? Either way, sometimes I guess you just need to deal with the attrition and call it like we're trying to trim the rolls in Social Security. How about that?
Oh, we could cover the account that I was covering on social media before the show tonight, and show a 45-foot woman in San Francisco. The statue
with the person crawling up. Absolutely. But Freezer Man has his hand up first before we go there.
If I could add something about AI,
sure.
Brian Wood has got a thing called UFO Dex. And what it is an AI assistant, and you ask you can ask any question on UFO or NHI, and it gives you a detailed answer to any of the questions that you may have. It's very interesting. I've done it a couple of times.
Interesting.
Yes.
Mike, the number's 997. With today's show, we've got 3 more episodes, and we are at 1,000 episodes so far of Disclosure tonight. Isn't that great?
Yeah, so we got Friday, Saturday, and then the following Monday on the 21st.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes quickly.
It does.
Marketing your calendars, people. The 21st Monday is our 1,000th live stream.
I guess we have to have a special show for that to cover all the great. Oh, God, I want to go ahead and download all those videos. We'll just talk about it. How about that?
There you go.
You know, when we
can
used to
do
do 6 days a week for a while.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, I guess we could be out there and going ahead and covering this still every single day. But we like live shows. We like bringing in a live audience. We could go ahead and do just a small little clip of people being here and everything. But you know what? I'd rather have an audience and do a live show rather than doing a little 20-minute freaking recorded episode.
Early in the day when most people are doing other things. No, you and I are in agreement on that, Thomas.
Oh, absolutely. Have you seen that video of the stuff of something in Russia? Apparently, this showed up on Twitter, or I mean on Reddit, and then it showed up on X of this craft object, whatever it is,
Moscow,
potentially Moscow. We don't know where it is. We don't have the full provenance on the video, but it's an interesting video nonetheless. Let me go ahead and bring this up here.
It's very interesting because it also ties into the same objects that we had here in this country. And is it the same? But they were firing with.
This is not like any of the drones we've seen in the United States. I'll call this out. This doesn't have the visual profile, the behaviors, the characteristics, or anything for what we had going on in the U.S. Supposedly, this is in Moscow.
Right. Allegedly.
Supposedly. But there's been no proof that it actually is. But we've got a lake here at the bottom. We got some trees, and we've got a city in the background. And I have watched it closely on a 10-foot screen, sitting about 8 feet from it. I like sitting in a theater, going frame by frame through the video. What I never saw once.
Yeah.
You have all these missiles shooting up towards things, right?
Artillery fire or
crap, my camera.
Small arms fire. Yeah, it's tracer rounds, phosphorus rounds in the night sky. Nice. Oh, fuck you Friday is still in effect.
All right. All right. So, about that. I unplugged the camera to use it for charging a MacBook. Kill me. All right. So, at least the camera went for an hour and 25 minutes from its battery. That's saying something pretty good about it. At 4K 60, you can't complain. All right. So, we've got to look. We've got the lake here. This is supposedly over Russia. So, what we're seeing is if you have a craft in the sky and you've got something traveling up towards it and it's going to interact with this object, Mike?
Yes.
You would expect it to cause some kind of change in lighting or explosion, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to see that once. Stuff just disappears. For me, that is just suspect because anytime, even, I've seen tons of videos, I don't have it here, of things that were going on over Israel when they've had plenty of incoming missiles and their systems, the Patriot missiles shooting up and knocking down the incoming attack. If this was supposedly a drone or something going on, we're not seeing that. But so let me just get this in the background. And you can see we've got an object going on here. If I zoom it in, and I know it's going to be, you can see it's going on. What we have here is something right there. And we're seeing it kind of looked like there's something that's rotating, going in a clockwise motion.
Right.
Woo, woo, woo. Yeah. But as the particular, I guess we're seeing a little white light here. As the different objects come close to it, you see it turn white, but some of them are missing it. Let me zoom in out of this so everybody just can kind of see this as we're seeing it. There's the object going along. This is a pole here. It does go behind the pole. And it just kind of moves on along. Now, at different times, you're going to see the camera zoom in, move along, and there's some lights that are there. Clearly, this is from within a building. They're recording it through glass, and through that glass, some of the reflections that are lights in the room behind them, you'll see those moving along at a different rate compared to everything else that we're seeing moving in this video. Like these lights right up here.
There's another part of this video that has a close-up of the object. Do you have that in this video clip?
This is the original clip, so anything else that has a close-up of it is going to be a modification of this clip. So
it looks like it's zoomed in enhanced, that whole clip I'm talking about.
Well, if you're zooming in and enhancing it, Mike, you're using AI to create pixels based on the learning model it has. When you're dealing with something that's there, right?
Yeah.
You need to look at what we have because that's what the AI is seeing. And the AI doesn't know potentially how a non-human intelligence craft would or would not look. So it's based on what it would know, and it's going ahead and creating additional pixels to create that detail that's not there.
Yeah, okay. So it's not actual footage.
Yeah.
It's like CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. Not accurate.
Oh, and
So
by the
we're
way,
seeing-
Mike, if you ever hear someone calling you a Nazi, you know what you need to call them back?
What's that?
A communist.
Okay.
Yeah. Larky Derry and Kelly Burrow. Kelly is being a freaking champ with her piercing blue eyes. Absolutely. So let's watch more of this video. So it's an interesting video. The object moves along for so long, it stops, and it just flips around and goes the opposite direction, and it never stops. There's nothing that ever hits it. We got these, again, these three lights that are here that are floating around. That's within the room where the person's at, which kind of says wherever the person is, this object that's here that we're watching as at whatever it is, craft that is going back and forth, is not in the room reflecting on it, because that would be a effect they call Pepper's ghost.
Yeah, so it's not a legitimate video, seems like.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Well, it's just something that's questionable. We're seeing, but here's the question. Why is it when it's traveling initially, going in that direction, there's all these craft potentially shooting at it, right? Why is it when it starts going the opposite direction, there's nothing shooting at it? Don't you think if it was an enemy craft, they would still consider shooting it down?
Are you kidding me? They would be tracking the shit out of it and firing continuously.
Right.
Yeah, that goes without saying. So, yeah, I don't know. It's odd.
Well, it's odd, meaning that, again, that at this part of the video, we've got everything shooting at it. It's going to the right. It's supposed to be part of this. And all the different things are stopping, and they can shoot it, and all of a sudden, you get to it when it's still going to the right. It's still moving forward, and then all the shooting stops, and then it goes the other way. And they're not shooting at it anymore. Again, if it's an enemy craft, they would keep on shooting until it's gone, like you said.
Right. That's standard operating procedure.
Yeah. Someone says, well, it's supposed to be a Russian helicopter. If it is, Cool, it does have a spinning, but here's the thing. The spinning that's there, Mike, how many helicopters are you aware of?
That have lights on the rotors?
That have lights on the rotors?
None.
Absolutely none.
Right.
Bring it down a little bit. Let's make it a little bit larger so everybody can see. That's what we're seeing. So you have something that potentially has lights that are moving around. Which would not be a helicopter.
No.
Well, Marcus Mandel is saying this is according to the Russian media. Well, all right, Marcus Mandel, you believe the Russian media? Do you think a helicopter, does anybody out there think a helicopter would have lights on the rotors? Oh, Tia Marie, your hands up, my dear lady.
Yeah, just wondering if it's a possibility that when they were shooting at it, the craft jammed it so that they couldn't shoot at it anymore.
No. You
Because we know that
what?
they jam everything.
If that was going on, if the craft had the ability to jam something, let's take it down to it. I don't think that craft would go ahead and allow all of this shit to be going ahead and being fired at it if it had the inherent ability on a quantum level to go ahead and jam the equipment. It would have jammed the stuff coming in and just said, you know. But good idea, T. I appreciate it. Daryl, what say you?
Yeah. So ospreys have lights on the ends of the rotor blade tips.
They do. I didn't know that, really.
You could do a quick Google search for that.
But here's the question: if you were performing an attack on an enemy, would you have those lights turned on?
Yes, with a bullseye right in the middle.
It's reflective tape, not lights. Those are reflective tape.
They're what?
It's reflective tape. It's not lights on the end of the Ospreys.
Okay.
Rotors. Yeah.
Thank
That
you,
makes
sir.
sense. It looks like lights.
Well,
Yeah, you can see them when you're looking down, but I don't think you can see them like if you're on the ground and looking up. But more to Thomas's point for the Russian report about lights on the rotors, it would be no tactical value or sense behind having lights on your rotors, because then you get shot down by the Ukrainians, right? So I don't think the.
But here we're
lights on the
seeing
rotors
something.
thing flies.
If it was over Russia, going for an attack over Russia, that would be coming from Ukrainians. And would the Ukrainians themselves go ahead and put reflective tape on the rotors of a drone? Right? No.
They wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it. That would eliminate the element of surprise, you know, and that's one thing that the Ukrainians need for an advantage. Have a good night.
So they must put lights on the engines, right? Because they reflect that light. Because the way I even know this is by watching the presidential, the Ospreys, the 3 Ospreys that always fly with the detail. When they take off, you can see it from the bottom.
Yeah, and that's a different type of aircraft used for a different purpose, you know, kind of in the event of that thing ever going down, you want it to be a bit more visible, where combat aircraft and drones, they don't serve that purpose, especially in military capacity. Yeah. But I do know what you're talking about, Daryl, and yeah, there is some type of visible markers on the president's aircraft. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at it because I'm not sure. Exactly,
and here's one thing. I did watch this as I was watching the video and everything, going through it. There is some kind of a antenna that's here in the actual image. It's right there up on screen right now. They zoom into it, and the craft does disappear when it goes behind this particular object. I was trying to figure out, was this something in the foreground that we're looking at, that the reason we're not seeing it interacting with the stuff behind it is because it's far in the distance, but it definitely looks like this is definitely in the plane where a lot of the different activity is going on. Yeah, interesting stuff. Syrup, go ahead.
Yeah, with the recent drone incursions we had on our military bases, etc.
Nothing looked like this.
Let's pretend that was Russia for a second. Could this just be us flexing on Russia with a show of force? Or why do you think not?
Because whatever's going on, we're seeing all this activity, all these different things. Let me zoom in a little bit here and just let me blow it up this way a little bit. There we go. Larger. Move this around within the window. And what we're seeing is the object that's flying along, right? We're seeing all these things are potentially being shot at it. But why would they keep on shooting at the overall object for a period of time and then at a certain time just stop shooting at it completely and let the object get away? If something was going on, and it definitely was a enemy aircraft for what we were seeing, they wouldn't just shoot at it when it's going one way, and when it stops and turns back the other way, why would you stop shooting at it, Syrup?
So are you insinuating that it was not, they weren't shooting at it and the bullets were unable, or whatever they were shooting at it was unable to hit it? That's not what was going on.
Well,
they weren't trying to hit it, is what you're insinuating.
Potentially, right? But what we're seeing is when the craft is moving along, shooting at it, and as soon as it turns around and goes the other direction, doesn't matter where it is, all the shooting stops. For me, that's just a situation from a military aspect. If I may call on Corporal Abe, does that make sense to you? If you have an object that's invading your base, whatever it is, and as soon as it's over your base, turns around, goes the other direction, would you stop shooting at it because even though it's over your territory or your restricted area, that you're not going to shoot at because it's going the other way, or would you try to bring it down?
It depends on the situation and like the geographical location. Are we in like a combat zone, or am I here in Hawaii? Because if we're shooting at things here in Hawaii, if we're facing the direction of the ocean, okay. But if you're facing the direction of the civilian population, yeah, you want to try and bring something down, but then you also don't want to cause any harm to the public, right? And so there's a lot of things going on. Like I watched that testimony of the base commander to Congress recently, and he said that he wanted to try to shoot something down, but it was higher ups that he didn't have permission from. So there's different situations for different circumstances. If it was a combat zone, I do agree with you, but if not, then you got to consider the collateral damage, especially with inside the continental U.S.
So Thomas, are you and thanks for that, Corporal. Are you insinuating, like, my question is, do you think it's prosaic?
I don't know what it is, but I know it's in a situation where when we're looking at what's going on, it doesn't add up to the activity that we're seeing coming from what's being shot at the ground. Meaning if something is moving along to a point, and then we keep on shooting at it, nothing's going on, and it just turns around, goes the other direction, why wouldn't we keep on shooting at it to try and bring that craft down? Does that make sense, Europe?
Yeah.
Let's move on. Susan, none of your business. You have your hand up.
Yeah, why do you think these things are attracted to military operations and wars and stuff like that? What do you think that's about?
Entertainment? It's like a train wreck. You can't stop looking at it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're working out how we fight and what we fight with. Sort of research.
It could be
intelligence gathering or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Those all sound like legitimate reasons why.
Yeah. Just wondered what your thoughts were.
I'm glad we don't fight with words because we'll be fucked.
Absolutely. Sergeant Daniel, USMC, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I saw something interesting today. I don't know when Trump said it, but he mentioned something about, he said that some of the stuff that we have is people can't even believe how powerful it is. He alluded to the fact that nobody has any idea of some of the stuff that we actually have in our arsenal when he was talking. I think he was talking about China or what have you. China. Yeah, he was talking something in that aspect of, he says you can't even imagine what we have in our arsenal. He said that during a press conference, and but he made a point to say it. So I've never heard I mean, obviously we all know about nuclear weapons, we all know about all the other bombs and stuff, but I don't know what he could be talking about. Maybe it is some secret stuff that we have, you know.
Yeah, it could be. Absolutely, my friend. Wow. Amazing who comes in the back chat. I don't think
we have some drama from the front chat now in the back chat with us.
Oh, I know. We had someone who was a smartass who Kelly Broad had been whipping. Someone let him in the back. Yeah. Oh, that's right, Mocha. We shouldn't have let Larky Derry in, right? Oh, yes, that's right, girl. Do I do the right thing catching him? No negatives. Gotta have fun with it, Mike. My gosh, what a wonderful... Yes, that's correct. That is a big fuck you coming to you too, Mocha. Oh, yes, Ab. Oh, you want a cookie? Is that it? I have a cookie bag here. Oh, God. Can I pick up the move? Here you go, Mocha. Happy Friday, Mike. What a great day.
Yeah, oh, yeah. In more ways than one. But at least we had some good news to report on the Tic Tacs. So that was interesting.
You know, it took all the different stuff that was going on. I guess we could talk about the Skywatchers because Skywatchers brought out a bunch of really interesting videos out this week. And the quality is just like, are you kidding me?
I know.
Why is it so bad?
Oh, I can't explain it.
But at least they're receptive to the feedback, unlike if you talk about Matt Laszlo and saying his audio is bad. He takes it personally. But the people who were involved with Skywatcher, they saw the stuff, and it's like, what can we do to fix this? Please let us know. They're actually open to it. They took the feedback that maybe we gave and a bunch of other people gave saying, why is it so bad? Now, Mike, they're blaming the bad footage on the non-human intelligence.
They were claiming, and we covered this, they were claiming interference from the objects that was downgrading their video quality.
No, but the proof, yes, Mike, that's right. That is not correct, Mocha. She is absolutely right. Mike, the problem comes from is they're blaming it on the equipment. But the problem is not with the equipment. It's going beyond the capabilities of the equipment, meaning they have a point, tilt, and zoom camera, which allows them to go ahead and take and point, tilt, and zoom towards anything. And while it is a 4K equivalent of a camera, they said, well, it can't go beyond the servo capabilities of what our cameras can handle. And those are great point, tilt, and zoom cameras, Mike, but you know what they're developed for?
What's
security. Watching something to make sure people aren't stealing stuff or if people are walking along with an area, they have a 4K image to get to it. You know what that means? Their optics for long distance objects suck.
Oh, the porch pirate cameras? Yeah, they're terrible.
But these are like corporate porch pirate cameras, Mike. Ones that can zoom around, they have the ability to move up and down and basically give you 360 degrees around and like 90 degrees of pan, tilt, and zoom. You'll get something that's there, but but what we're seeing is not interference coming from the objects themselves. what we're seeing is the limitations based on the camera sensor, which is probably a 0.23 inch, basically a 1/4 inch sensor, the limitations of that sensor and the optics that are there for them to go ahead and capture the stuff.
Sure.
And it's
with the money invested in that company so far, they should be able to do a lot better than that.
now, granted, I have video footage of something that came from an iPhone 11 Pro Max running at 120 frames per second, and that was more than capable to get little dots moving around. So granted that their stuff is leagues above that, but it is very far below the capabilities of digital imaging we have today with 8K cameras and everything. And I have to say, even serial debunkers against bringing out the UFO truth, I actually say I actually agree with what I had said, Mike, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what?
Oh, you're right.
It doesn't matter whether you believe in this stuff, in disclosure or not. The truth is, we all just want to see the facts. And if you want to give us the facts, you want to give us the information, make it open source. Let us see all the information. Let's bring it out and make it accessible to everybody. And that's what my beat of the war drum is about, my friend.
Because that's the only fair way to do it. It's the right way. And there's no real excuse to not do it that way. So you're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Steve Hins in the front chat says, I guess they bought whatever they could find at Costco.
I have not seen a point, tilt, and zoom security system in Costco ever. Now, they have had those ones where you can have 8 or 9 cameras and hooked up, but I haven't seen those for years. Freezer Man, have you seen any of those at Costco? I know the last time I went to the warehouse, I've never seen one of those.
We haven't had them for a very long time.
About 2-3 years, maybe 5 years?
Well, I would say 5 years, Thomas.
Yeah, absolutely. Syrup, what are your thoughts?
I've seen what's his name, Jake Barber, post some on X, and I forget exactly what it said, but people were actually offering him help, like, hey, we got the right kind of cameras to zoom in and look at this stuff real close. And I guess I'm just, if he doesn't take these people up on their offer, what is it he's trying to hide, I guess, is what I'm getting at. If there's people out there that can zoom in on these things with the camera and they're offering him help for free, I would imagine he would take them up on that offer.
Well, they're going to have to invest into it. Now, Dana Scully in our chat also says, Thomas Fessler, do you think Skywatcher is simply trying to protect proprietary data? No, I just think that, no, Mike, I just think, or Dana on this one, I think they've invested a lot of money in people when they should have been investing a lot of money in technology and pipeline to ensure they had the digital pipeline that was there, that was capable of giving them the best resolution of the information to figure this stuff out and document it. They went with what was potentially already there, and they said this is the best, but the results, everybody's pushing back saying, no, it can be a lot better. And I believe it can be a lot better too. Especially if they have billionaires who are backing it, right, Syrup?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Do you think he's trying to, man, I don't want to make accusations, but do you think he's trying, they're trying to, do you think they're trying to pull a fast one and they're just trying to not get people to have the ability to debunk this? Like they don't, hey, no, we don't want the good cameras zooming in on this stuff because then they might find out it is just.
Potentially, are they going and down-resing the data?
Yeah.
Before it's brought out.
I have the same thoughts about that, sir. You're not the only one.
Okay.
Again, make it open source. Give us the original files, unedited, on anything. Let us see what is coming off the cameras. Let's see what's coming off the sensors. Make it all an open source project, not just in source code, but open source data, and open up to the world. And people can say, well, you can't do that because you might inspire our enemies. Well, you know what? We're all humans here. And if this is something that's going on against humankind, maybe we need to look beyond our borders of national security.
Right, because what we're discussing is not a geographical location problem, it's a global problem.
Yeah.
Affects everybody everywhere.
Day in, day out.
Yeah.
And it's not just a government issue. It's a humanity issue. Yes, they're very interested in the governments of this world and, more importantly, the military and everything else that's going on. But I have a feeling they're more interested in our DNA and us as an overall life form, as a human, as we call ourselves, than anything.
Right. You are correct.
Yes. Yes, sir, you are correct. Oh, God, Mike, what a great show tonight. I want to thank Go Ahead.
We had some good stuff to go over.
You know, we have some super chats. I'm not sure what's going on. It should be giving me a longer super chat. It's not. But anyway, I want to thank Gizmo for the super chat tonight. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I know we've probably had some more super chats, but my system is not behaving. So I'll figure it out. Mike, what a great show tonight. Wow, what a great audience. Happy Friday, my friend. I think we've got enough. We may have a show tomorrow. We have to take a look and see, are there enough things for us to cover? But you know what, Mike? I think tomorrow we're going to take the deep dive into all the evidence that Skywatchers brought out this week.
We can, if you want. We covered all of that stuff when it came out, but
no. They have dropped a lot of videos this whole week, Mike, from all the different craft and stabilized and looked at, and they're talking about that. That could give us something to talk about, I think. We'll find out.
Maybe we'll figure it out. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll go over it. Yeah, we'll see what's there.
Absolutely.
And maybe something will break. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe something will happen tomorrow.
You better believe it, my friend.
Always a possibility.
Oh, Kyle Reinhardt just came in. On that note, though, Mike, I want to go ahead and where's that at? We got a great super chat tonight, as I said, coming in from Gizmo. We had a couple super chats from a couple other people coming in. For some reason, they've been removed from my platform. I want to go ahead and thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. More importantly, I want to thank everybody in the audience, everybody in the back. Mike, thank you for being here, part of this conversation.
Oh, my pleasure, my friend. And thank you for putting all this together. It was a fun show tonight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody. But I'll try it one more time. Hold on.
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. Catch you on the flip side. Hopefully see you tomorrow, everybody. Take care now. Bye-bye. Thank you.